we go to the webinar, and the purpose of that is so that folks who are in the office right now or who are not working on Fridays can access the training on their own time. And I do plan on sending this off to the board because we are doing a Part 2 training with them as well, and so I'd like them to see what we've started off from. So today is a social media training Part 1. I hope it will be very informative and helpful for you all to understand. And so there's a couple of reasons why I've split up this training into 2. Part 1 is more about the basics. So some of you, I know I could see who in here uses social media more often, but some of you may be more fluent in it, and some of you may not even have a clue to it. So I made this training so that it's equal on all levels, so that it's either a refresher or something that you never have heard of before. So some of the training goals is to identify and define the different social media sites the health forum uses. So we use Facebook, we use Twitter, we use LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. And so for Facebook, we have a couple of different accounts that we manage, which is the main health forum site. We manage the Aim for Equity site. We manage the Cancer Survivor site. I think those are the main ones. And then for Twitter, we have a couple of accounts as well. So we have the Health Forum Twitter, which is just at APIAHF, and then there's a Health Forum Policy Twitter account, which is APIAHF Policy. And then we also have one for C4H, which is C4H Tips. And then for LinkedIn, we do have a main Health Forum group site, and for Instagram, we use that for C4H Tips, and for YouTube, we use it for the Health Forum, and I believe we do have an HTA YouTube site. So that's a lot of social media sites that we manage. I don't manage all of them, but I manage the big ones, so like the main Health Forum site. Another goal is to understand the pros and cons behind social media. So I think we already know that social media is great for amplifying like the news and the things that we learn, or the things that we produce, or the things that we're working on the Hill. So and trying to message things to our policymakers and making sure that our community understands what's going on and how we could get them involved for the mobilizing part. But then there are cons to it too, and I think this is what people forget the most, and it's how to create a message that one is beneficial to whoever's reading it, but also are we creating a message that is causing them to take action, or are we creating a message that makes them not want to follow us? So those are some things to think about. And then one of the other goals is learning how to learn the basic social media language. So each social media account has its own kind of language. So if you've seen hashtag has been a big one. People still don't know how to use hashtag. There's Follow Fridays, there's direct messaging, there's retweets, there's other stuff like what is a timeline and that kind of stuff. So each social media site has its own kind of language that I'm going to go through today. And then expectations. I kind of wanted to do a disclaimer because this training is not for the advanced. This training is not. This training is on the basics of how to use social media and what our overall purpose of social media is. Part 2 is going to be more intensive. It's going to be about strategy. It's going to be about privacy management, and it's going to be about how to be more effective with your social media. Another one is this training is not to force you to do social media for the health forum. It would be nice, but it's to amplify and to protect the brand of the health forum, but also to protect you. And I'm going to be giving more in-depth examples of do's and don'ts, bad and good tweets, or and that kind of stuff. But I like this little image because it says we see everything, and it's true. Anything that you post online, someone's going to see. Even if you delete it afterwards, someone could take a picture of the screen, someone can use it against you. So that's just one of the reasons why I wanted you all to know about that. And then lastly, some of you may already know about social media and the power behind it. So the expectation is for those of you who already know about it to share what you know. So what is social media? We throw that word around a lot. Social media is about engaging, it's about sharing information, and it's about getting people to take some kind of action. And so since we love Wordles in this office, I decided to get all of the different social media definitions that they use online, and I put it into Wordle. So a lot of what you see is conversation, information, people, media, sharing, interaction, marketing tools, customers, and for us that's like our stakeholders, right? What are other stuff? The different social media sites like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, technology, digital, and that kind of stuff. So social media is a lot of things, and every social media site probably has their own definition of what social media is, depending what you use. So Twitter is used for news. I think is used better for news. Facebook is better used for like creating a brand and like showing what your brand is about. And then Instagram is about showing where you're at and what you're doing. So I'm going to go through each site, and I've used myself, the Health Forum, as an example. I've used myself because as you are sitting here being trained, you're thinking about how you are using your social media account. So that's why I'm going to show how I use it individually and then how we use it as a group. So I know a few of us have a part in like doing the Aim for Equity website or the Aim for Equity social media or the other social media sites that we use. So what is Facebook? It's a large social network where people create profiles, exchange messages, and report status updates. So like I have a, here's my work profile for Facebook. I do have 2 Facebook accounts. One is for work and one is for personal use. And later on you'll realize why it's important to have a separate one if you do have, you know, your personal followers are a different kind of audience, and then your work followers are another kind of audience. So this is the Health Forum's main header for their Facebook fan page. So here's an example of like how Twitter is being used. I went to a wedding this past weekend, and friends and I drove down to LA, and so the groom who was getting married did a public announcement and said, "Travel safe and see you in one piece," and you know, just tagging everybody in it. So there's a lot in this. One is like it's an announcement, the way he messaged it, and then he's tagging all of these different people who are going to the wedding, and so it kind of like calls their attention. And I don't know if for folks who already use Facebook, but every time you're being tagged in something, you get a notification, so you know what's going on. And then what is Facebook good for? It's great for brand exposure and customer relations. That's the overall kind of definition to it, but here is an example of a Facebook update that we did when we came out with the Healthcare for Me website. So we shared the actual website link. We shared what the website was about, and then we attached the image of like the header for the cover for the Facebook page. So you know, we're really trying to amplify what the new website is, and we can do this with different causes too. Like for example, if we're doing we've done it with ACA work, where we've posted cover photos of how to get to our website, the deadlines to ACA enrollment and whatnot. So that's fine. So then we're going on to Twitter. So what is Twitter? Twitter is a microblogging service that enables users to send text-based posts up to 140 characters. So that's what Twitter is known for. They're known for having short and quick messages. But later on when I go through training 2, you're going to learn that you can't use 140 characters when you tweet. You should actually be using less than 140 characters. And the reason for that is because you want to attach a link to your message or some kind of image or a hashtag that will make your message go further and have more people click on it. So think less than 140 characters. What is Twitter good for? The ability to quickly respond to audiences. I think this week they were doing a big push for Medicaid, and so Obama tweeted, state leaders should put people over politics and stop blocking Medicaid expansion. So he shared this picture, or whoever did his Twitter account shared this picture, but if you notice at the bottom, it was shared over 2,000 times, and it was favorited over 1,000 times, and Health Forum retweeted it. So it's good for people like getting the message right away, but also sharing it faster. And then what is LinkedIn? I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable with LinkedIn sometimes because they think, oh, if you have a good LinkedIn profile, it's because you're trying to look for another job. But I think people forget that LinkedIn is a very professional website. So what I mean by professional is that we have our own LinkedIn account as well, and then I have my personal personal profile. So some of my notes, LinkedIn doesn't necessarily mean you are seeking for other jobs. When you keep up your professional profile and share the work you've done with your colleagues, you boost the organization's visibility and give credit to the actual work that you've been doing. So if a funder goes to our health forum site, they can see who works for the health forum, and they'll see, oh, okay, Aiko does fund development. What has she done for the health forum? Or, Marietta has, they look at, people have the ability to look at your profiles and see how effective your staff is. So I think there's a big value in staff making a profile where they show their health forum work or they show their profiles. So think about it that way. People are stalking all the time. I know it's scary, but if you have something out there, you might as well make it something good. So don't put a profile of yourself up there, even if it's just a personal profile that doesn't represent you in the best way possible. So here I have an example. Some of the work that I've done for the health forum, a lot of people have tagged me in projects I've worked with them. So this is a long time ago. I did a toolkit with Andy, who was the past communications person, and Wendy Ho and Marguerite, and we're all tagged in it, and it gives a description of what the actual project was, and then there's a direct link to what the project was, so people can look at health forum produced work. So what is LinkedIn good for? LinkedIn is the right place to update your network about your professional accomplishments and progress. So here is an update from LinkedIn that is supporting the new job postings for C4H. As you can see here, it has how many impressions, how many times people clicked on it, and then people commenting on, oh, I'm interested in the job. So they'll follow up. I think C4H is it was the first time that we used LinkedIn to look for jobs or to post a job up, because I know we're hiring for a lot of the capacity for health jobs. So this is another example of LinkedIn. So Instagram. What is Instagram good for? A picture is worth 1,000 words. It encourages customer participation. Instagram allows you to build a personality for your business or promote special events, and the chance to, that was cut off, to go viral. So this is, Instagram is an app that you use on your phone or any mobile device. So even on a tablet or whatnot, you can use it. But what's so great about Instagram is that wherever you go, you can upload something. And it was the first app that actually did that. So if you're working, you could be anywhere, and if something comes up like a rally, you can automatically post. And Instagram is one of the first apps to connect to Twitter and Facebook at the same time. So that's what makes it more valuable, because it goes further. So here's for personal use. Instagram is a fun and quirky way to share your life with friends through a series of pictures. So again, here, this is a picture of birthday cake my sister sent me. But I purposely shared this because I tagged the 49ers, hoping that they would get my attention and retweet it or reshare it for me. This happened, and it was a really sad day because they lost. The next one is YouTube. What is YouTube? So YouTube allows billions of people to discover and watch and share originally created videos. YouTube provides a forum for people to connect, inform, and inspire others across the globe, and act as a distribution platform for original content. And I was going through our YouTube page, which it could use some improvement, but I don't know, where's my slide? We have over 130 trainings and PSAs and stories from the health forum that I think staff forgets that we have a count of. So when you have time, please go to our YouTube site and check them out. There's a lot of ACA training. There's a lot of stories for hope, the cancer survivor stories. There's a lot of trainings on advocacy, how-to on advocacy training and that kind of stuff. So a lot of helpful information that I think we forget that we have access to. You can create a series of, what is it good for? You can create a series of educational videos which can also aid in boosting your online presence and building your reputation. So I don't know, everybody has to remember this. Over 10,000, that's pretty good. One day we'll go viral. So the cons of social media, you can't win everyone. Here are a couple of things that people have shared with us that aren't so pleasant. The first one is in reference to the enrollment style video. It says, "Stupid video. I wonder if the creators of this piece of crap have seen what a disaster Obamacare has been." We know that that's not true.
Interesting.
But you will get this. I know Kathy has some Tea Party comments from a lot of people. This is a recent one. It was during the APAM opening ceremony, and I think it was in reference to how they called you Carrie Underwood, or not? Claire Underwood. Claire Underwood. So this person said she was making comments about how can you compare an Asian person to a white person? Is that where we're going now? And it was just a string of things. And so Amna and I go back and forth about, do we respond to these people or do we not respond to them? What's the best way to attack personal attacks on our health forum page? So, there are situations where we can't help it. If you do entertain people like this, it's going to be a non-stop conversation. It's going to be going back and forth a lot. You're going to be wasting a lot of time. But it also looks bad on you because that means you can't control the situation. So a lot of the times when these things happen, we either give them one fact of information that has a connected resource to it, or we just let it go. And we have to be okay with that. With social media, you have to create a really thick skin because it's a very transparent form of media. That's not just transparent on the health forum, but yourself as the person tweeting. So me, as Kathy tweets or as she updates her Facebook, everybody's looking at it, and you have to be okay with people's opinion.
Yeah, in particular, there's this one person who it was in response to an article or op-ed that published, and this guy just kept baiting me. He kept saying, "Kathy Coe, why won't you respond to my questions?" He kept posting questions on Twitter, and I kept going to AJ and Anna. I was like, "Help! What do I do? Do I respond?" It's like I responded once, and we had a linked tweet, and then that was it. So he kept baiting.
And I think they're
hard.
waiting for you to say something that they can, and Kathy Coe lamely responds.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
But you can control the situation, and you have to be okay with moving forward with whatever content you make back to them. But also, it just makes us look better. If you respond once, you've shown your responsibility, and that's all it takes. So how to social media. So this is the part where people either need to learn more about it or learn the language behind it. Just get better at it. It's a refresher. Of it. So the first, I'm going to do steps, and they're very basic steps, but I'm going to interject with a couple of things. So for Facebook itself, you must set up a personal profile before you create a company page. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I can't do anything on the Health Forum's main page if it's not done through my personal page. So that's why I created another page for my work profile. Everything that I like, every time I have to tag someone, I have to like that group. And I'll go over that later. But if you notice here, I have a clear profile picture of myself, and it's my name, says where I work, where I go to school, and then other stuff. Every time you create any kind of online profile, you want to make sure that it's you and not, some random picture of a cartoon drawing or a nickname that you use that's inappropriate because people will connect it to your professionalism. So the next part is create your company page and add company information, photos, videos, upcoming events, and links back to your website. So this is more so for the folks that are managing the different sub-websites or sub-social media sites like AIM for Equity and Cancer Survivors. We want to put photos. We want to link back to our website. So all the About sections have our Health Forum website. It has our mission statement. It has a link to what our other social media sites are. So everything should be linked. So this is the next part, and it's the part where people should pay attention. So it's learn to speak Facebook. Facebook has its own language. There are different buttons, and some of you may not know what the buttons mean. One of the most prominent buttons is the like button. The like button allows other users to know if you appreciate a particular post. So I think this post was on immigration reform, and this is a picture of the Health Forum. I think there's Kathy, Marianne, Priscilla,
I think so.
Paulo, and Diodene. And so over here, you can't see it, but over about 30 people liked it, and that means, okay, we support the causes that you do. You'll notice that more people tend to like on pictures rather than just words. So anytime you post something on Facebook especially, it's more ideal to post a link to a website or have a picture of the actual event happening, because they like things that are happening now. So the next button is a share button. The share button allows you to share an update or photo onto your own timeline as a friend timeline and or a group or a company timeline. So here is an update. I couldn't show the whole thing because I didn't want to take up the whole page, but it's basically the 10 reasons why young adults should get covered. Here you'll notice that 4 people have shared it, 12 people liked it, and you can basically share anything on Facebook itself. And if you notice, if you go on different websites, you can see that you can share articles that you read online to your personal Facebook as well. So here is the connecting one. Who shared our 10 reasons why young adults should get covered? Paulo shared it, Kathy shared it, and then you can see that it says via the health forum. So every time someone shares it, we'll know that it's coming from the health forum or from a source of where you got the information. And then the next part is tagging. So again, I use the 10 reasons why young adults should get covered. So Andy posted the go get covered or else you'll be hearing from A to AP Town from the health forum. He did something very funny here because he tagged myself, which is my work account, and then he tagged the health forum. So his network will see everything, we'll see who it came from, but also can click on the health forum or myself to get more in-depth information about it. So how do you tag? So today, what if I wanted to tag Kathy, Happy Friday? So you go into the status update, and you type in your message, and then you use the @ sign connected with the person's name, and it will automatically feed who will be part of that message. So in here, like Kathy's name is one of the top ones that have been selected. And then another part of Facebook is joining the groups. On Facebook, like I said, if you are managing a fan page, it's good to kind of follow the people that are like yourselves. So this also amplifies who follows you as an individual or as an organization. So you see here, there's Advancing Justice, there's NHELP, there's NCAPA, Young Invincibles. There's a bunch of people that I follow. I think I follow over 600 organizations.
Wow.
And this is also policymakers because on the, I know earlier in the Facebook days, we had to, when we would do advocacy work, we would tag our policymakers on certain messages, and you have to like them as well. So I have a lot of people that I follow. And if you are trying to build your own network, it's always good to follow the people that you get information from, or kind of like your competitor, I guess, because it helps you see what they're sharing and if you should be sharing the same information or if you want to counter whatever they're sharing. And so I'm going to move on to Twitter. So for Twitter, create a Twitter handle. Use either your business name or your name that clients or customers will recognize. So here, the health forum's handle. Handle refers to the @ sign and then the name of whoever's account it is. It's also known as like the screen name, or yeah, it's like your address, it's like your phone number, but for Twitter. So here's the health forum's acronym. And then here I put mine up because I think it's good to see what kind of messages you could put up. So on my personal Twitter, well, let me go back. So the health forum, we put the mission statement so they know that what we do, where we're from, and a link to our website. And today is actually our Twitter birthday. So we're 5 years old on Twitter. I got a notification today, which I thought was funny because it tells you how long we've been using social media. So here, if you notice in my personal description, I talk about the things that I'm interested in. So I'm a communication specialist. I'm into ads. I'm into social media. I like arts and design, chocolate. I'm a runner. And then I always put this, and I think this is what everybody should do if you have a public account, is my tweets are my own thoughts, because you do not want people to associate your personal thoughts to what the thoughts of the organization are. And I'm going to go more in depth with this on training, on the Part 2 training, but keep that in the back of your minds. Anytime you have a public account, you want folks to know that it's not a representation of the health forum unless it's an official account. So the accounts that I consider official is the health forum, the policy account, C4H, and Kathy's account, because Kathy's
although, you know, it's interesting for the commission, they said they want us to tweet. They want us to tweet a lot, but they want us to also put that.
Yeah, exactly. So you can still, I think you should still put it, but personally, I consider your account to be an official account because you are a voice of the health forum. Okay, so back into the language. How do we speak Twitter? A reply button, a reply. It's usually the @ and someone's handle. So here's an example of me talking to Adobe because we had to move to the Creative Cloud, which means all of the design that I do has to be on the cloud system. And so one day it was not working, and I was very disappointed in it. And so I said, anyone else having trouble accessing their Creative Cloud via Windows desktop? I was here at the health forum doing this. And then I hashtag Creative Cloud, hoping someone would reply. And behold, Adobe replies back and says, AJ Titong, I tested myself and it was working okay for me. Where is it failing for you? So here you could see we're replying back and forth to each other. So anytime you put someone's handle, that means you're replying or sending them a message that they can access, and you get a direct notification of it. So
but everybody sees that conversation.
Everybody sees that. But I'll go to, there's another one that I'll go to that's, so yes, everybody sees this. And again, it shows transparency. It shows, is Adobe really doing their job to help their customers? And it also shows engagement, because if you can see a company or an organization that can reply back with something useful, that helps you trust them more. It makes you want to follow them more.
And also the one thing that as we use Twitter and use it professionally, this is like my pet peeve. It's kind of like CCing everybody on every little thing. If you're doing a direct reply like that, but it's things like, yo, be in the lobby in 5 minutes, and then those are the hilarious comments. Get me another drink. Try not to do too much of that.
Right.
If you think you're talking to your friend and you're talking like that, but the whole Twitter, everybody who's following you is...
It gets annoying. It really does. And I will go to go more in depth with that during the Part 2 training of what's your intention of making a specific tweet? Is it because you want to tell everyone that you're using the bathroom, or is it because you want to tell someone that you voted today and you want them to vote too? So it's being very intentional, having an agenda behind your social media account. So the next language is the retweet, which is my favorite because this is how everything gets multiplied. My little illustration here is like one tweet goes to 3 tweets, then that multiplies, and that multiplies again. So going back to the Barack Obama post on Medicaid, again, it was retweeted over 2,000 times just in that day. I think this was 2 days ago. And so it could go really far. If you look at Barack Obama, he has millions of followers. So you can only imagine if each of those million followers, each of those people retweet it, it goes tenfold again. So again, the power of a retweet is something to remember. So this is a direct message. What people don't know is that, so direct message is privately messaging someone on Twitter. The only thing is that you can only do a back and forth direct message if that same person's following you. So on my personal Twitter account, I follow the health forum, or I follow Kathy and Kathy follows me back. You can do direct messages so that the whole feed doesn't see the messages going on. The only downfall is that the other person has to follow you back. Which is why Twitter is, I think Twitter is the one that's the most dangerous and the most helpful because, once you send a tweet, you can't take it back. It gets remembered. Yeah.
Can I share an example?
Sure.
So Sue Van from Coulter Foundation found that I had taken a picture of her while she was giving a keynote at the Advancing Justice conference, and I hashtagged Advancing Justice. And then she asked Kathy to ask me to take it down. Of course I did immediately. But it was months later. This was a while ago. So again, I feel like one interpretation is it's a generational issue. She doesn't actually understand when she's making a public speech at a public conference where they're actually encouraging people to tweet and giving you hashtags. It did happen. So she used her power and her influence to ask us to take down, and we did. But if you Google my name and Twitter, that exact tweet with that image still appears in the Google feed, even though it's off of my Twitter account.
Right.
Yeah. So you
can't
really
do anything
control
about it.
something like you say something rashly or put out a political position that you later regret, even if you delete that tweet, it's still out there.
Yeah.
You know, the Google archives.
So it eventually gets deleted, but depending on how much traffic it receives, because you hashtag other organizations and they have the following too. Twitter says it takes 2 to 7 days for a tweet to go away from it, but it really depends on how many times it was retweeted or shared by someone else. And so it would have to multiply that length of process to the other times that it was shared again. So be very careful. I don't know if I mentioned what a hashtag is. So a hashtag is used to categorize tweets and keeps tweets grouped together. There's the right way of using it, and then there's the wrong way. So here's the right way of using it. So this month was dedicated to API Heritage Month, and the official hashtag was APAM 2014. So if you type in APAM 2014 in Twitter, or even in like Google or Bing or any search site, all of the messages regarding APAM will appear in a thread. So here is, in this actual search, I did it in Twitter, and so it pops up all of the other, everything that was mentioned in Twitter about APAM will pop up. So whoever created a message with the APAM hashtag, it will appear. So that's the benefit of it. If we're talking about ACA or Get Covered, hashtag Get Covered or whatnot, it will appear and we can tell who's actually using it. But sometimes people abuse the hashtag, and it annoys me. But I'm trying to help you be a clean social media person, like make sure that your information is clean. If you know anything about coding, and this is like the back end when you do HTML stuff, when you have the wrong code, it looks messed up. It ruins the whole like interface of your website. And so I kind of like to think about social media as coding too, because if you don't code your messages correctly, it'll look really like weird and people won't trust you. So I really like this little comic, and it was these 3 people. Hi, you are so cute. Does he already have a Twitter? And then the other person says, yes, he has just learned his first hashtag, and the hashtag says strange woman. People like to put hashtags to things that aren't official hashtags. And so sometimes it makes your messages look messy, or I don't know, for some reason I find it sometimes immature, so people do really long hashtag messages trying to call attention to an idea or a concept or something that they're doing. It's cute for a little bit, but when you're trying to be a professional, don't do it. You could do it on your personal accounts, you could do it on your personal Facebook, but if you're trying to be a professional person, you want to be as clean as you can with your messaging.
So then, for example, the opening of the swearing-in ceremony for API Heritage.
Yes, I remember that.
There was a whole dialogue between Audrey and Karen, and they were using hashtag as like a shorter, abbreviated way of getting concepts across. And so you're saying that's not really the cleanest.
Well, they use it as like an exaggeration.
Right.
So it wasn't like an official thing. So if I were live tweeting something, I want to make sure that I'm using something official or something that everybody can easily use. So the whole preface of a hashtag is to have something short and sweet that people can quickly type out and then have reference to go to this whole group message. So like I said, you can still do it. I'm not telling you can't do it. But to be clean and to use up your space on Twitter as best as possible, be as professional as you can be and use something that's more official or something that's trending. On Twitter, on the Twitter page itself, there's going to be an icon at the bottom left side that will show you what are the trending topics. And sometimes, depending on what city you're in, it'll show you what's trending in that city. So sometimes I could see what's trending in Washington, D.C., and then you could talk about what are the issues that they're talking about. And so ACA was a huge one a couple of months ago because of enrollment. So use it to your, everything here for this training is to your discretion. This is just ways to be smart about how you use your social media professionally. Personally, you can do whatever you want, but I'll give you some tips on how to not get in trouble with it. Okay, so on Twitter, a lot of people say, well, how do you get more followers? How do you know what's going on? I think one of the big things is that you have to follow the people that are like yourself. So follow other users that are in your field, clients, customers, grantors, grantees, funders. In here, I did a screenshot of like some of the people that the Health Forum follows. You see Myra Alvarez from OMH, and then you see like a representative, and then some of our grantees and some of the projects that we were working on, so like Fast for Families and stuff. So we follow a lot of people, and this helps us learn what they're talking about, and that way they can follow us back and this is who I follow, so because I like advertising and design, I try to follow the people that could give me more ideas of how I could do better design. So it's just an example. And then these are some of the people that Kathy follows. So you'll see Jess is on there. You could see Kaiser Health News, Kaiser Family Foundation, NPR. So these are like good people that will give you good information. You want to follow the people who you can tell if they're legit if they have this little blue icon with a check mark on it. You'll know that they're like officially, you know, the person.
So Jeff doesn't have that.
That's because he only has 48 followers, or 300. I think you have to have over a certain amount of followers to become official, and someone has to approve it.
Like celebrities will have multiple accounts.
Yeah.
Verified.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
You have to have a pretty big following. Okay, so another step is for more followers is on Fridays, we do this thing called Follow Friday. The hashtag is, it's like an official hashtag that everybody uses, but the way that the Health Forum uses it is like we say thank you to the people who follow us, or talk about an event that we work with someone else with. And so Follow Friday is such a huge hashtag that anyone could see it, and that means, again, it gets amplified and people will want to follow you because you're connected to these other names. Okay, another way to stay connected with Twitter is to actually be connected to other stuff. So this is our website. We connect all of our social media sites, our social media accounts, to our website. So it's at the top of our navigation bar. But if you notice on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, you could connect all of those things within each other. Which is another great way. Another strategy for gaining followers is telling people that you have an account. Oh, follow me on Twitter. I'm like, I tweet about this, and it's very important because it's about healthcare and this and that. So you want to let people know that you're present. You want to be visible, and start tagging people in those posts. So again, here's another way that you can connect your multiple social media accounts. Once they know that, so for example, if I'm on Facebook and they know that my Twitter's that I have a Twitter account, they're going to follow you on Twitter too. So it's multiple social media sites. And then I just like this photo. I know people don't use MySpace anymore, but it's basically a bridge to like the different social media sites that you can go to, and they're all connected some way or another. I think I went over this. So it's how to of LinkedIn.
Can I ask a question? Mm-hmm. So you say you have a personal Facebook page and one is, how do you do that? And two is, do sometimes your friends just get confused, right?
I know. Yeah. Okay, so the reason how I started off with two different ones was because when I got to the Health Forum, the Facebook account was already 1 month old. And I think Andy, who was the previous communications manager, was managing it. But he said, well, I can't put my face up there because I'm white and I'm a male. No one's going to follow me. And, you know, I can't be a representative of the Health Forum, so you should be a representative of it because you're Asian, you're a woman, and like people will most likely follow you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I think the way that that was possible was because my work Facebook is a work email and it's not a personal email account. So it is against the rules to have multiple Facebook accounts, but people still do it. And in this one, I don't use the periods on my my initials, so it's AJT. This is my personal one. Oh, this is LinkedIn. Sorry. I have so many accounts. So on my personal Facebook, I have like, my names are spelled differently in it. But I do, I was telling Kathy that when I first started the Health Forum and I didn't know anything about privacy or just being professional, I like I followed everybody that was on HTA, and like they followed me back because I would go to all these HTA trainings, and I was doing trainings on social media, how to do social media. But at the time, it's like, oh, who cares? We're just connecting. We're making the connection. But now it's so, it's not filtered to the point where you can't have a personal life. And sometimes you want to post things that are just your family, just your friends. And so I've had to go to my personal Facebook page and make new settings for privacy settings. So there's still my friends on my personal Facebook. It's just that they're on this special list that says HTA or Health Forum, so that they don't see all of the things that I post on there. But since I've learned that, I've used the work Facebook as just a work Facebook, but I haven't sought out like coworkers, for example, to be my personal friends on Facebook.
So I've heard actually two things nested in there. So the privacy and list settings.
Right.
Maybe that's in 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're not advocating. You're explaining that you ended up setting up this
right
because you're the owner of the public health forum page.
Yeah. So I mean, in the ideal world, if I had to do it again, I would still create 2 separate accounts, because that way it's easier to manage, and you know, like, how to separate your personal life and your work life from whatever you post online.
Unless you make a mistake, you're posting something personal into,
yeah,
your public account.
That's why I always put 2 different pictures of myself. So my work picture is different from this work picture, from this profile picture. And so it tells me the picture that I've had on my work Facebook has been like a 5-year-old picture of myself. My personal or my other accounts that I manage are like more updated pictures.
Also, related to that, is we have one thing I know with the Get Covered video that's so popular. We don't have it. It actually is on what's his name's personal YouTube. Somehow the ownership. So one thing, say for example, if you were no longer with the health forum, or 10 years from now, or 50 years from now when you're no longer there, what, how do we manage the ownership of the it's connected to you as the owner of our organizational page? Are there things like that that?
So YouTube and so all social media sites have progressed since I started. Facebook now allows you to make administrators. So there's actually other administrators on our Facebook page. So Amna, for example, like when I'm not in the office, she can potentially do an update for me. I can make Kent an administrator if I'm not in the office. So that information gets relayed across. For YouTube, for our YouTube videos, there is a health forum account for that. So it's not under my name, and it's not under a specific staff member's name. And I think we've made that very, we've drawn the line for that, so there's that separation. Also, every time someone leaves the health forum, I always change the passwords, and it's the administrators that are working for it. So there's that, the back management of like these social media sites. But going back into LinkedIn, I think this next part was kind of like showing how to look more professional on your social media site. So again, I put in there like a real picture of myself, a real description of what I do, write a summary of what you do or like what you're interested in. And then when you do your LinkedIn profile, put what you do for the health forum. Put like the different projects that you've worked on so that people can see that. So on LinkedIn, again, like any other social media site, follow the people that are like yourself. In this case, again, I'm following designers, social media trends, and people who do social media and health. And they do post good articles that you can come across. So it could be a learning, social media could be a learning site too. And then again, your influencers, people that you want to follow in your network. So just be aware of those. So when should you update? This is more on time. During the Part 2 training, I'm going to talk about what you should update about and how you, if you feel like the information you're about to put on Twitter or Facebook is valuable to whoever is looking at it. So again, it's like, am I going to the bathroom or am I going to advocate to vote? So those kind of messages will be in Part 2 training. So this is a good one though. This is something to think about in the future. So I came across this really good infographic by the Payroll blog. And so it talks about when are the best times to tweet and when are the best times to Facebook. And this is important because if we are trying to be effective about our messaging, we want to make sure it gets to that person at the right time. So a lot of people work during the day. A lot of people go to sleep at certain times. A lot of people use Fridays for their hangout days, so they're not really going to go on their social media and that kind of stuff. So here I picked up, they do like other sites like Tumblr and Pinterest and whatnot, but I chose, again, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn because those are the main sites that we're actively on. So on Facebook, to get the most traffic, the best times to update your account or to put up a status update is between 1 and 4 p.m. And generally, yes, stick to your time zone, but because we work in DC time most of the time, I do things 3 hours ahead of time. So when I schedule stuff, sometimes you might not see it when we're in the office, but it's already been up because Twitter time in DC is different from here. Again, for Twitter, the best times are Mondays to Thursdays, 1 to 3 p.m., and then LinkedIn Tuesdays to Thursdays. And this is because people take vacations on Fridays and Mondays, and so people who are working, who are in the professional world, won't really pay attention until the middle of the week. So a lot of these times make sense. Like for Twitter, 1 to 3 p.m. is like sort of the lunch time. It's also the time where people start getting like tired and they want a quick break from whatever they're doing, so they're going to go on their social media around those times. Mm-hmm. And then the peak times. So this is like the times when they notice the most tweets or the most updates. So specifically on Facebook, it's on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. This is hump day. Yeah. You know, it's the middle of the week. It's a time where you really want the break. It's not. We're not done with the week, but we're almost done, kind of thing. On Twitter, it's Mondays to Thursdays, so it's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And this is because, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., Mondays to Thursdays. And I think it's specifically at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Those, again, those are break times. And then LinkedIn, noon time, 5 to 6 p.m. This is because people are out of work already, so they want to just like see what's going on. And then the worst times. Don't ever tweet on the weekends if it's something valuable or something you want people to learn. We did I think it was we did a letter from the president for ACA enrollment, the last day to enroll, and it was the White House gave us the template of the email to send out to our constituents like on a Friday. And so no one really got it. And then I was like, okay, this is not really going to go anywhere. And then you know that it doesn't go anywhere because people aren't following up on, they're not going to go to the Health Forum's website or Health Forum's fan page to look at the tweets, the updates. So they're not going to click on it. So the best time to do it is like during the weekday where people are actually in the office and they're actually, those are their working times. And then the worst times on Twitter, evening times, Fridays, sometimes even weekends, and then again on LinkedIn, Mondays to Fridays, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., because everybody's asleep. So those are the worst times. So here are just some facts about it. Why photos are really good. People, again, if you're a visual person, they will remember the picture versus the update itself. So photos generate higher engagement. Tweets with images, you can see the statistics here, 36% increase in clicks if you have an image, 41% increase in retweets if you have an image, and 33% increase in visitor to lead conversation rate. So whoever's updating, say, Barack Obama, it has a higher chance of getting somewhere. And then LinkedIn, 41% of visits are from a mobile device. A lot of updates are being done mobilely now. They're not just being done here in the office, me going on the computer and doing it. You know, there are times where, you know, I'm still half asleep, and then Amna sends me an email because it's DC time, and she's like, okay, we have a blog up. You have to, like, you send it. And so generally, you want to send news at the time that it happens, but it has to be practical. So, you know, I can't, like, wake up early in the morning, but I do it from my phone because it's, like, the most helpful thing to do. So a lot of people are just using their phones nowadays to do these updates. Okay, so that was the basic part of the social media training. So for social media training part 2, I'm going to talk about the anatomy of a social media message. So I'm actually going to break down how to create the best Twitter message possible, and then how to break down I'm going to break down how to make the best Facebook message. So again, I told you, Twitter is 140 characters. I'm saying you have to do less than 140 characters to have a very effective message. Facebook is very different. You don't have limitations on Facebook, but you have there's a chance of people not wanting to click on whatever you want to share because you share too much. Sometimes people write too much in a message that it overwhelms them and they're like, okay, it's not another long message. So you have to be very strategic about how you do your different messaging on different social media sites. And then I'm going to go into how to protect yourself and how to protect the health forum. So a few years back, we did have a health forum social media policy that I am revamping, and so I'll be sharing some of those points again. So, for example, if you're on your personal account and you want to tweet something about the health forum, don't tweet anything that's like in-house information, like how many grants do we have and how much money do we get for each grant. You don't want to share numbers like that unless it's like to help promote like a cause or whatnot. So that's an example of it. Don't share any personal information about your staff members, like coworkers and whatnot, and just stuff like that.
No partisan stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that too.
No partisan or candidate.
If it's official,
So it could become obvious. If you endorse ACA, for example, they know you're...
Well, that's the law of the land.
Yeah.
Right.
But in particular, it's really important not for anything to cross over for the health forum that's around any partisan issues or candidates.
But you can be an educator. So you can share educational information and facts and figures. You just can't say, vote for this. You can't tell people directly what to do. But you give them an option of learning about what you're tweeting or what you're sharing. And then the last two parts is manage your social media and privacy settings. Again, this is creating those lists. And how to manage more than one social media site. And then the last one is a social media strategy. And this is something that I wanted to share with folks because folks don't know why I update it every times or why I choose to update certain information. And so an example is when Kathy has a blog that goes up, I try to do it as immediately as I can. Anytime it's a blog, anytime it's a news source or a resource that was created by a news agency, you want to do that right after they do it. If it's an hour or two after, it doesn't become news anymore. So there are specific reasons why we update at specific times. And also talking about the dissemination of the reports and the different documents that we create and how we go about doing that using social media. So that will be for part 2. If you have questions, you can email me or ask me, and I can integrate some of the things that maybe I haven't covered in here into the next training. But the next training is going to be a little more intense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Follow me on Twitter. I share a lot of social media tips on Twitter.